Hello basketball coaches and basketball players, my name is Alan from Al's Basketball Training, and today I'm going to talk to you about the 1-3-1 basketball offense that you can run at the high school level. So I was asked by a coach, hey, I'm starting to basically run a team. It's going to be a JV girls team, and we're going to be running up against a man-to-man and zone defense. So I would like to run some 1-3-1 offenses, and I would like your input. So what I'm going to do today in this video is give you 3 man-to-man plays and 3 zone plays that you can run as the 1-3-1 with, and also being able to be ran at that kind of a level. So if you coach a junior varsity team, this video is for you. Let's get down to the clipboard and let's check these out. Okay, so first in this first play, what we're going to be having is player 5. He is going to be setting a screen up for player 3. And player 3 is going to use that screen, but at the same time, we're going to be having player 4 setting a screen on player 1. Player 2 is going to be moving down towards the baseline, and player 1 is going to be using that screen. Now, player 1 could just drive right towards the rim if it's open. If player 2 was to come and play help defense, he can kick it out to player 2. The other option is player 4 is going to be able to roll towards the basket, and he may be open for a layup, which is another option. Or what could happen is player 3 can use that screen, and we can have a third option for player 3 to take that 3-point or even a mid-range shot. Now in this second play, what we're going to be having is player 1. He's going to be dribbling out towards this right side. Player 3 is going to be picking him up, and this is going to be a dribble handoff with player 1. Player 3 is going to get that ball. He's going to dribble up top. Meanwhile, we're going to be having player 4 setting a screen, like a staggered screen. So if player 3 was to get around, he would be then screened by player 4. Player 2 is going to be going down towards the low post. Player 3 is going to be using that screen. He could drive right to, or she could drive right towards the basket and go in for the layup. If one of these two players or both of those players were to play help defense, we have an option with player 5 and an option with player 2. Now, if he doesn't go driving or she doesn't go driving towards the rim, what's going to happen now is player 4 is going to be rolling towards the basket, and that may be another option. Or what we can have now, if let's say that's not an option, everyone is covered, we're going to have now player 4 setting a back screen for player 2. And we're going to be having player 1 setting a screen down, a pin down screen for player 5. Now, player 5 is going to come off that screen. He can go to the mid-range or 3-point line area. And then the other option is player 2 cutting baseline may be open right underneath the rim. So if that's the case, hit him up for a shot, or hit player 5 up for a mid-range or 3-point shot. Now in this next play, what we're going to be having is player 4. He's going to be setting a screen out for player 2. Player 2 is going to use that screen. She's going to do a cut down the middle of the key. If she's open, hit her up for a shot. If there's help defense, player 5 may be open for a shot. If neither of them are open, player 2 is going to clear out towards that left wing or that left side, that left corner. And then what we're going to be having now is player 4. She's going to then go and set a screen for player 5, and player 5 is going to be popping up for a mid-range or even a 3-point shot. Now, if neither of those are open, let's say player 5 was really tightly covered, we can have player 4 pop out. Player 5 can then just set a simple screen and roll with player 1. And what we're hoping for is a nice seal and roll so that player 5 is open down the middle of the key. Basically what we have done is we've created a few different options, and then we have cleared out all the players outside the key so that player 5 will hopefully have an open lane to the basket. Okay, so now with a 2-3, most likely you're going to be having both of these players playing up top, or you're going to be having one player play up top and one covering sort of player 4. Player 3 is probably going to be playing up, and player 4 is going to be playing up, and player 5 is going to be kind of hedged over towards that one side. So what we're going to be doing here is if there's a trap or a double team up top, then player 4 has the ability to just decide which side that she wants to or he wants to screen on. However, if they're just hedging where player 2 is covering kind of like the high post and player 1 is covering up top, then whichever one of these players, let's say player 2 is the one who comes down to guard player 4, then we want player 4 to get a set of screen for the opposite side. And what we're hoping for over here is for player 1 to use that screen and to start driving towards the rim. Now, she could be open for a shot right there, but that will probably bring player 4 over to guard her. When that happens, we want to pass out to player 2 and player 1 to cut down towards that low corner. We now have player 4 up top, so player 1 needs to needs to cut off the passing lane there. And we have player 4 who is essentially guarding 2 players at once. Now this is the same for a 3-2 zone as well. This is going to look almost pretty well the exact same. Pretty close anyways. And then we're going to be having player 3 move down. And then what we're going to be having is most likely player 1 being wide open in that corner. And if that's the case, he can take that shot or she can take that shot. Or we could have the feed the post, and then from there we've got a few different options. We can move player 4 over to the basically the key extended, where now we have still one of these 3 players who will be open. Now I know this is an overload offense. We basically went from a 1-3-1 into an overload, but this does work extremely well. Now I'm going to show you the 3-2, but again, this offense does work against a 2-3 as well as a 2-1-2 as well. So what we're going to be starting with is we're going to be having player 4 set a screen up top for player 1. Player 1 blue is going to be using that screen, and player 4, that's going to be collapsing these 2 players on him. Player 4 should be open really quickly in the middle of the key, and she could take that shot really quickly. However, what we're looking to do here is to get player 4 the ball in that high post. So even if they don't have that shot and player 1 was to come down and defend it, then what we're going to be having is the defense collapsing because we got it inside the key. So now player 3 should be open. We could move player 2 down and he could be open or she could be open even farther in, because now player 3 is isolated to guard both of those players. But this is just a nice quick hitter that you can run against a 2-3, a 2-1-2, or even a 3-2 zone. Just basically to get the ball inside, can have a quick shot or pass the ball out for an open shot, because we have now collapsed the defense in to stop anything that's happening inside the key. Now against the 2-1-2, you're most likely going to have player 5 move up. We're going to have player 1 and 2 cutting off the passing lanes and still watching that mid post. And we're going to be having player 3 and 4 down in the low post. Now, what I always like to prefer happening in this zone is for player 1 to start dribbling out towards this left side, which could draw the defense up towards him, and we can get a pass over to player 3. We can then have player 1 cut down towards that low corner, and now what we're going to be having is a possibility for a 3-point shot from one of those 2 players. The defense is most likely going to be popping up just like that. Now what we're going to be having is player 4 still in that high post where he can receive that ball. That's going to bring player 5 up because player 5 is guarding that whole middle section. And now what we can have is player 2, we can have him cut right across the key. And now we have basically isolated the whole bottom section here along the baseline. So one of a few things can happen here. We can have player 5 open because player 3 might go and try and cover both players, in which case we can have a pass to one of those 2 for a layup. Or what could happen is player 4 could come back down to protect the key, which would then leave player 1 open for a shot. So essentially we have overloaded the defense once again that can create many shots for you. Now my camera just died, so I hope that you have enjoyed today's video. If you have, hit that like button, subscribe, and over in this corner is going to be another video, and somewhere over here is going to be a subscribe button. I'll see you guys again next time.